on the next episode of Supernatural Eye.
Everybody, welcome back to Supernatural Eye. I'm your main host, Francesca Garcia, and I can't believe we're already on episode 8, which is so crazy to me. We literally have like one more episode left, and we are wrapping up the season. So we're going to be focusing on the very haunted Old Davie schoolhouse, mostly focusing on the Viele House. I know there's like 3 locations in this beast. There's obviously the schoolhouse, the Viele House, which we'll be discussing, and the Walsh House. But again, we are focusing just solely on the Viele House. Stay tuned for the post-interview segment with Mike Delcoro, the homie, because he will be interviewing team member JP. So it's going to be a very exciting post-interview segment. JP is like the king of the spirit box, but we'll get to that here shortly. So stay tuned. You definitely don't want to miss out on the post-interview segment. So obviously, you know how this goes. We're going to start with a little bit of history first, make that pretty brief, and then we'll get to the evidence that was captured in this investigation, and then we'll get to the post-interview segment. But anyways, before we start anything off, I wanted to wish everybody a very happy Halloween. I know this is such a weird episode because here I am recording in October, but yet this is being released in, November time. So I'm going to say like a little happy Halloween and maybe towards the end, happy Thanksgiving, because I'm kind of like in between the two of this. Hence why your girl's all decked out in Halloween. But yeah, anyways, we are going to be releasing this episode during like November month. So why? Because Halloween's super busy. War Party Paranormal, we are very busy as a team, and we have back-to-back events. And then also me representing the Haunted Files with Eric and Mike. It was back-to-back. So this whole month has been crazy, but it was very exciting and rewarding because it is our favorite time. But it was a very busy month for us. So obviously, I would think it was best to release this segment in November. But anyways, you tell me for the future seasons what I should do. But in the meantime, let's get to business and discuss about the history of the Old Davie Viele House. So pretty much both the Viele House and the Walsh House were built in 1912. Actually, I think the Viele House was first in 1912, and the Walsh, if I'm not mistaken, was like 1914 or something like that. Later, both homes were relocated to the Old Davie School campus, and I think it was like a block, maybe a couple blocks down the street or something like that off that main road. And it's considered one of Davie's oldest standing structures. And Davie is like a town kind of up north of Miami, so it's like, I always consider all that a Miami area, but anybody from the East Coast is like, no, Davie's Davie. So obviously, it is known for one of the oldest standing structures in Davie. It is named after the owner, Harry Viele. And it's a 2-story, 4,230 square foot home. And it pretty much survived the 1926 hurricane and the floods of 1947. The owners, Viele, paid a Fort Lauderdale carpenter named William Griffin. It's about $2.50 back in the days, a day to construct the house. The house was built of Dade County pine and Red River cypress as well. Also, it was elevated 5 feet to escape floodwater, boasted a fireplace as well. In 1926, the hurricane, the bad 1926 hurricane destroyed the home and the original gable roof. It was replaced by a hip roof. I'm not sure what each roof means, but anyways, for those are into the construction business and roofing business, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It has now been restored, and it's moved to Old Davie again and the Historical Museum aspect. Some of the known spirits. So let's go ahead and talk about the little spirits. Anyways, the most known spirits of the activity obviously are the Vealies, the Vealie family. But the most dominant spirit of the Viele house is Paul Hammer. We'll get to that in a second. The most activity has been picked up in the attic area. It's probably again one of the most creepiest attics I've ever been in. And as far as my investigation, which we'll get to later on, yeah, a lot of the activity has been picked up on there. Even when we do our events and stuff like that, anybody's investigating the Viele house, they go straight to the attic. They know that's where the hot spot's at. So yeah, Paul Hammer, I think he was like some like close friend to the Viele family, and he was in the military. But he wrote the letters when he was in World War One, and again, his spirit is very dominant at the Viele house. So he comes up a lot on like digital recorders, spirit boxes, and also the Ovulus. I think that the name Paul Hammer came to place. Um, so yeah, he's very dominant there. And there's a lot of theories that he's there. There's some theories that he may not be Paul Hammer. We don't know, but for most part, we just think it's Paul Hammer. So yeah, that gives you a little bit of the spirit history and also the history of the Viele house. And then now we're going to talk about the personal experience. So as far as like personal experience, I think we went like what was it, 2 years back, to the Viele house, and this was like my first time at Old Davie, I think, and I didn't focus so much at the schoolhouse. That's why we're focusing more on the Viele at this episode. But it was the Viele house that I first kind of conquered when I was at the Old Davie schoolhouse. And this bad boy has such a reputation. Paul Hammer is like the known spirit that people have reported. Um, I didn't capture so much evidence at this house. I wish I could have made this all one episode, but it would have been too lengthy of an episode. Therefore, I had to focus like on one segment. I'll do Old Davie in season 3, maybe focusing on the school itself. But so far, I only captured like one significant piece of evidence. I know the guys have captured more, and we'll show their pieces of evidence here shortly to kind of conclude how amazing this place is. I have investigated other times after the fact, but obviously you just kind of forget to film, and then you know how that goes. You just kind of get caught up in the moment. But JP is the king of like the spirit box. That guy has like some magical hands, and his works around that spirit box that he's just really good at doing it. So the responses that guy gets on that spirit box, it's amazing, and I will show you that. So I've never had my name called out at a location. And I'm very excited because, sorry, I have like the squeaky chair. If you're hearing like this weird leather noise, that's me, by the way. So it's not my stomach growling. There it goes. My stomach growling, but it's the chair. I promise. Anyways, but I've never had my name called out at a location before, and this is the first time. I've always wanted, like on a digital recorder or on a spirit box. I'm like, come on, call out my name. It's always Eric's name that gets called out. I know he's a popular guy. But for some reason, my name never gets called out. I don't know if it's because it's like a long name or something. Even though I'm like, yo, say Fran or Franny or something. But I don't know what it is. I guess it's just not a common name, or just they don't care. But this was the first time and location. No, I lie. There's other times that people call my name. But this was like the first time I've ever heard my name being called out on a device. And I was so stoked. I was very excited. And it was like not even once. It was like multiple times. So let's go ahead and show you that little clip real quick with JP, Spirit Box King, working his magic. So let's go ahead and show you that real quick.
Do you like Franny? She's new to our team. You're going to see more of her.
Can you say Franny's name? Let me hear you say Franny.
Yeah.
Yeah? Say your name.
What you hear? You heard it again?
Wow, isn't that freaking crazy? So it's like 3 or 4 times like my name was called out, and I was like so shocked. I was trying to act cool though. You could see I was like very like low key and just chill, but and deep down inside I was like freaking out. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. But anyways, anywho, yeah, very cool experience. But that attic, especially at the Viele house, it's just like the most creepiest attic I've ever been inside. Yeah, I would have to say definitely. I mean, I've been at the Riddle House and the famous Joe's attic, but no, definitely there's something about this attic that gives a creep vibe factor. Like there's like a dead rat on the corner with like his skeleton, just hanging, chilling there. So it's a creepy vibe. It's a creepy little house and attic itself for sure. So yeah, that's that as far as like much of the evidence I captured at the Viele House. Jeez, I cannot talk for the life of me ever. The guys, however, have captured more significant evidence and good captures. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and show you that. I was not there at the moment with them, but you might have seen these clips already from their YouTube channels and videos, and also probably from the War Party radio show. Go ahead and check that out. We have an episode coming out this Monday night. Just saying, check it out. Um, but yeah, so I want to show you guys their clips because there's a Paul Hammer that always comes out, and we think he's significant, not only from the history of this location, but for some reason he's very dominant at the Viele House. So let's go ahead and show you what the guys have captured.
All right. All right, so we need to be quiet because this will pick up anything, and that might be like a voice. So, you know me and everybody else. Paul, are you here? All right. Whoa, I'm here. Oh, wow. Gee. Oh, yeah, let's play that again. Hey, I'm here, right?
Yeah.
Very, very clearly.
What? Whoa. Sounds like no one. Listen. No one.
Can you touch that again? Can you make it go to green again? Thank you.
Okay, I'm not gonna say anything. Just say whatever you like. Go ahead. I think you're scared. Are you scared? How come you're not talking anymore? Okay, I'm not gonna say anything. Just say whatever you like. Go ahead. I think you're scared. Are you scared? How come you're not talking anymore?
So anyways, that pretty much wraps up the whole Viele House. And again, stay tuned because in season 3 we'll discuss more about the old school. Can't even talk Old Davie Schoolhouse, and probably more focusing on the schoolhouse itself. So again, this place has 3 different locations. Two of the locations that got relocated to behind the house, the schoolhouse. So it's just a very, very cool place to check out. A lot of history, a lot of good field trips. Your kids in school, definitely in that area, definitely check them out. They're awesome. Kim, the owner, she's a sweetheart. Just had her second baby, and I think it's her second. Yeah, it's her second, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, she's a sweetheart, so check them out. They're awesome. So Old Davie Schoolhouse, and yeah, that's that. Just to discuss a little bit more further points, make sure to check out our radio show, War Party Paranormal radio show every Monday night at 9 p.m. Also, make sure to check out The Haunted Files. We're already on season 2, and we're coming out with that first episode of Lake of Death. Check out the guys. They did an amazing, amazing job for that Halloween spooky special. So, yeah, happy Halloween again, guys. And Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving's coming up. So, I don't think I'll see you till the next one, next episode. And that's going to be the season finale. So, that's going to be freaking crazy. We got one more left. Another thing I wanted to say, This one's gonna be really hard, but anyways, I wanted to bring to your guys' awareness, make the announcement that our co-founder, our mama bear, Scotty Burns, has stage 3 cancer. She's going through therapy and chemotherapy and all that jazz. I guess you could say cancer really does suck. We are really affected by this news as War Party and our team. We're really sad by it because we look up to Scotty so much. She's just such an amazing role model and just such a badass female paranormal investigator in this field. I don't know anybody as more badass as Scotty Burns, honestly. Like, I've met so many paranormal investigators and females, and it's like, there's nobody like fucking Scotty Burns. That's all I gotta say. She's a badass. She really is, and I'm really hopeful that she's gonna pull through on this because her personality is so strong, and I'm hoping she does because we need her. She's our mama bear, and I don't know anybody that can run that North team better than Scotty Burns. Trust me on that. So please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. She's amazing. She's our mama bear. She's our queen. We have a GoFundMe page, so please, I'm going to put the link right here. So go ahead and please donate. She is amazing, and I'm telling you, like, this is just, it hurts. It really does hurt. But she's an incredible influence in this field, and that I can promise you, hands down. If you don't believe me, you don't have to like me. If you don't believe me, whatever. But trust me, you ask anybody in this field, a state, doesn't matter if it's Florida, you can ask anywhere around. People know Scotty, and she's a badass. So please help donate. Here's our GoFundMe link, and please keep Scotty's name alive. She's just, all we want to do is make her proud, and she's amazing. So we love you, Scotty Burns. We totally love you, our sweet mama bear. Love you. So yeah, that concludes this segment for episode 8. And again, just stay tuned for the next episode. That will be our season finale. That's so freaking crazy. I cannot believe, like, literally a year ago, we just started this season. And literally a year ago. And I decided to extend it because I know season 1 we just did 8 episodes, so technically this would have been our season finale if this was like kind of going through like season 1 standards. But I wanted to give you guys an extra episode, so yes, we have one more to go. That would be your season finale. I'm not going to drop some hints yet. Just stay tuned for the trailer, but that'll be coming up. So stay tuned. And again, stay tuned for the radio show for this Monday. And also stay tuned for the Haunted Files because season 2 is just smack at you, coming right there. So I'm telling you, we don't stop. We go one thing after the other and after the other. So that's there. And stay tuned for our future events because I can't believe we're already wrapping up almost this year too. So it's getting there. It's getting there. But again, you can check that out at the War Party Paranormal website. And again, stay tuned. We got a lot of spooky stuff heading towards your way. So again, happy Halloween. I said this at the beginning of the show, but now I want to say happy Thanksgiving because I won't see you till the next episode, and that will be past Thanksgiving. So, actually, before all that, I do want to share some Halloween pictures of the fur babies that I've taken of Mr. Salem, my little baby child, and his cousin Dexter. So let's go see those some Halloween pictures because obviously we kind of missed out on Halloween here. Let's go ahead and show that. So yeah, my baby Salem was Chucky this year, and Dexter was this lion. So you always gotta have fun in Halloween. Gotta make it fun. I missed out on Salem's. I was so busy this year I missed out on his Halloween costume contest. So he's a little bit mad at me, but anyways, he would have totally won. He's such a cute fur baby. But anywho, back on track. Happy Thanksgiving. Share with your loved ones, your family members, anybody that has treated you so special to this world. Love you guys. Thank you again. Stay tuned. There's so much heading towards your way, and make sure to check us out at War Party Paranormal. And also make sure to check out the Haunted Files on Paraflex. Make sure to get your subscription, subscribe, because yeah, that's where it's at. Anyways, love you guys. Have a good night. Bye.
What's up, guys? This is Mike Delcoro, Florida paranormal researcher from War Party Paranormal, and this is the post-interview segment from the Supernatural Eye Show. And joined with me, fellow team member with War Party Paranormal, my boy JP. What's up, dude? How's it going?
What's good, Mike? Always good, man. Always good.
That's right. So happy to have you join us tonight. And we just got a couple questions for you. We're going to go through, and it's going to be real mellow, man, and it's good to see you. And so, how did you meet Franny? Do you remember the investigation you met Franny at?
Yep. Yep. We were at the Old Davie schoolhouse. This was, man, at least a couple years ago now, I would think. Her and I investigated the Viele House together. And I remember Eric had told me about her. Said that she was and a paranormal investigator on the west coast of Florida, and that she's going to be joining us. And so we're looking forward to it. And yeah, it was a good experience, man. Right out the gate, we had a really good investigation that night. We were running an event, and we had a lot of guests there. So she was a huge help. It was really cool to kind of sit back and watch her work, and the vibe that she brought was really nice.
Awesome, awesome. And then, what kind of equipment did you guys use during the investigation, if you recall?
Yeah, sure. So I believe that I was running. My go-to is always the SB7. I love the SB7 Spirit Box. It's one of the first pieces of equipment that I ever went out and purchased on my own. So I kind of have a kindling for that. But we were running that. We had some DR60s running with that. You know, I don't think she had seen a DR60 work up until that point, and so we had some really good EVPs that night. What else do we have? RIM pods, you know, the normal EMF stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then you already kind of answered this question about how long ago it was. You said a couple of years.
Yeah.
So, this is a good question. And me and you have been buddies for a long time. We've been on the team
Mhm.
together, and I never really got to ask you this or had the opportunity to, but how'd you get into this? How'd you become a paranormal investigator?
Sure. So it's a very unique way of how I ended up in this. I want to say it was 2007. I had a really good friend of mine, one of my best friends. Um, Unfortunately, he lost his life in a car accident.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And a couple of weeks after his death, I was playing my guitar in my room, and I want to say that he manifests. He came into my room. It was very brief. Now, I very well could have been still mourning his loss, and it could have been something, but it got me very curious. Now, that's when I say that I started, because I started doing a lot of research into parascience and the paranormal. I started researching near-death experiences through so many different cultures, which then led me into. This may sound a little morbid, but I started going to locations where people had instant death, like in car accidents, to see if there would be energy left in that space. In my head, you're cruising down the road and you're listening to your song or whatever. You're just living your life, and the next second you're no longer with us. Now, what happens in that brief moment of time? And back in that time, this predated Ghost Adventures. So there was a movie that came out called White Noise. I don't know if you remember that
Mhm.
movie. Had I think Michael Keaton in it. But they were they had spirit communication through white noise. And I actually had an old AM/FM radio that I had with me that I would just kind of use as a white noise generator. And it was very simple. I didn't have any equipment. It had that radio, had a little video camera, and I had a like a bell that you would see at a hotel lobby, like those old school hotel
Mhm,
lobbies.
mhm, mhm.
And I would go to these locations and just try to have some type of communication through white noise and or through the bell. And that led for I did that for a little bit of time, and then the explosion of the Ghost Adventures. I don't want. I'd be lying if I said that didn't influence me. Of course, I dug into my bag, had like a little digital recorder, an old dictaphone from back when I was in college. I started carrying those two investigations with me. Um, the more that I got out there and doing my thing, I hooked up. I don't know if you remember Aaron Kahn or not, but
Yeah,
Aaron
of
was
course.
a yeah. Aaron and I used to go out together all the time as we got a little longer into tooth, And then I want to say 2017, end of 2017, beginning of 2018, I was introduced to Scotty with War Party. Now I was working with another group out of Hollywood, a couple of people who had worked with Scotty before, and they introduced me to her. I went on to an investigation with her, and that was the first time that I ever got to experience a DR60. My mind was blown.
Right.
And Zap turned me on to the little Panasonic. I think it was an ST25.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up buying one the next night. You know what I mean? The next day, and then that's history, man. Like she invited me to join War Party. I think after our third or fourth investigation, and I've been with them ever since, and been with you guys. A lot of fun.
Yeah. No, it's great, and I feel like there's a lot of very similar type things that bring a lot of investigators into this. I kind of had similar type experiences, and just wanted to find out what happened.
Yeah.
Did you ever have anything other than that previously, like growing up? Like,
Oh yeah, man, I sure did. Like when I was a child, I grew up in a I want to say with my family, I was very rich with love, but we were very poor. We didn't have any money, and we grew up in a very old farmhouse. And when you're a child, you see things through the lens of a child, but there was things that were going on in that house that were a little bit more than that. And there was one particular incident that happened to me when I want to say I was about 10. We had this old farmhouse, but my father had purchased a double wide trailer, a mobile home, and he connected it to the old house. So we lived in the old farmhouse for a long time until he bought the trailer, and then he connected the two homes and made one huge. This is how hillbillies are, man. In Kentucky, we make one huge house out of everything. But he asked me to go get him something. This is very specific in my mind. He asked me to go get a pair of batteries, 9-volt batteries, out of the den in the old house. Now, to do that, I had to go down through the new trailer home, down the hallway, and then through this little connecting hall that connected the two homes. And then that went into an old bedroom, then into, my dad used to play music, so we had a music room set up over there, then into an old kitchen, which we just used for storage. My mother was a canner, so she canned a lot of vegetables, which she kept in there.
Mm-hmm.
Then into another bedroom, and then to the den. So I made that journey all the way through. Now, it was dark. Those old those old Kentucky homes had those light switches that were like way up high in the doorways. And so I was walking through that, and I've had experiences in a house before, but nothing like what happened to me that night. And as I picked the batteries up, and I'm walking back, and as I'm coming through the kitchen area, I hear a very distinctive voice from a lady saying, "Help me." And I stopped dead in my tracks. I was scared to death, and I turned, and it said, "Please, please help me." And then, of course, now in a female voice, I took off running. Like I was running as fast as I could, ran back through the music room, through the little hallway, through the another bedroom, into the connector little hallway, and the door which is an old outside door, the back door of a trailer home was the door that connected into the house. That was locked. So I'm banging on it. It was an aluminum door, banging. My dad comes running. He's like, "What's going on?" I said, "There's a lady screaming for help over there." My dad goes, he grabs his gun, goes over there. Of course, there's nothing there. Now, I found out later, much later in life, from my grandfather who had built that home, that I had a great aunt who passed in that room. Now,
Oh, wow.
she was, I don't mean anything by this, but she was so big that they couldn't take her out when out of the doorway. They had to cut a window out of that room and pass her through the wall that way. Now, I don't know if that's what I was connecting with or who that was, but Mike, to this day, that is stuck with me, and I'm about to turn 48.
I'm sure, right? That's some wild stuff. Yeah, that'll definitely pique your curiosity down the road too. You go, "Man, was
Sure,
I?"
man. There was a lot of other things that happened, but that was one that really stood out for sure.
Unreal. Very, very spooky, especially for how old would you say you were at this time?
I was like 11, you know what I mean? I had another, if we're telling ghost stories, I have another really prominent one that as I got older, I was about 16. Now that house in 1989 burned to the ground. We didn't have anything. All we had is what we had on. We lost everything.
Jeez.
So we moved into the town. I grew up in a very small town, 7,500 people. We moved into my great grandmother's home, and my grandparents, my father's parents, lived in Florida. They were coming up to Kentucky for Christmas, so I gave up my bedroom for my grandmother and my grandpa. And so I was sleeping on the couch, and then I woke up like really early. I don't know if it was 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, whatever it was, on the couch. And then, mind you, this is in December in Kentucky, so it's cold.
It's cold, yeah.
It's super cold. The room was cold, but it was saturated in rose. Like if somebody had cut 300 bouquets of fresh roses and put in the room, it was like my blankets, my shirt, everything was saturated in this rose smell. I mean, it woke me up, and I got up and I walked through the house. You know what I mean? I'm looking around, everybody's dead asleep, no pun intended. And the next morning I get up and ask my grandmother, I said, Nanny, I said, did you get up and walk through the house? She's like, no, why? She said, well, there was this rose smell, this very saturated rose smell just permeated the room. And she said, your great grandmother, Nana, was her favorite perfume was rose. Now, my grandfather was her middle child, so maybe she was coming back to visit because she had been dead for a while.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So maybe having the, your other family members in the house,
yeah,
it
exactly.
triggered possibly a visitation.
Indeed.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure, man.
It's, there's so much to it that, that the paranormal talks in subtleties,
It does.
and I think that's why a lot of people are trained to, like, throughout their lives, like, to like, it's the house, it's a creek, it's a
Right.
house settling, it's nothing. You hear a noise or you hear a voice, and you're like, I didn't really hear that, whatever, it was TV or something, but
Sure.
when you start to tune in and you start to search for it, it's subtleties like that, and it's wild, and you start putting them together, and it's just, it's addicting, right? It's because you want to keep searching to find out the truth of what's really going on. And that's why we try different things and different experiments. All of us, we're all trying different things all the time, and that's
Exactly.
what's great about War Party too, is that we all get along, we all have the same kind of mindset, and it's like one big family.
Well, you said it right there, Mike. I mean, I think it's important to point that out. I think the members of War Party really separate themselves from a lot of other people, other teams out there, because there's a clear line between, people who believe and people who are just they just can't think about it, right? They're like, if you've had an experience, we are continuously trying to document evidence to back those claims, because it is a pretty bold claim to say that, energy exists, ghosts exist, right? So, I mean, you're kind of putting yourself out there.
But then again, what I think is, there's some people, like, they might just try to ignore it or pass it off or be like, I don't want to talk about it. I think because
Yeah,
they're either scared of it, and they
yeah,
had their own experience and they just don't want to talk about it. They don't want to bring it up because they're fearful of it. Or sometimes if somebody is a real religious, that's kind of like, you don't do that. It's it's all demonic and things like that,
exactly.
and to get them to, and that's my theory, is to make them don't search for answers on your own. You listen to me because I'm the one telling you, like in a
Right.
religion, that's the way it is. Like, I feel like that's their response, is you don't need to go searching for that stuff on your own. I'll tell you how it is.
Yeah,
Kind of thing. And not to knock on religions, but I do have, I try to look at things in a scientific type of manner,
of course.
kind of going back to that house that we were talking right about the Viele house, and that's
Mhm.
one of my favorite locations here locally.
I love it.
It's very active. It never disappoints. And I wanted to ask you, and I know my answer, right? But I want to ask you, what is one of the most predominant figures or possible spirits that we encounter there?
Um, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I want to say Frank. No, not Frank. It's
Paul.
Paul Hammer. Yeah,
There you
Paul
go.
Hammer comes through so much.
It's and that's such a crazy thing, the way that we came up with that. All of us, every one of us has gotten EVP saying Paul at one point on the team, and then we got the word hammer, I think, coming through an Ovulus, and we asked the educational director, Kim, what does Paul and the word hammer mean to you? Because she's, the historian of this location. Right. And I thought like maybe somebody got hit with a hammer. I don't know. She goes, no, that there was a guy that lived here named Paul Hammer. Hammer was his last name. And that just blew my mind. Right. So that's and we got that from years and years of going back to the same place and multiple people researching it and getting the same stuff. I'm sorry. I'm glancing down at some notes here.
Go ahead, man. What's crazy is that one of my first times catching that, it was me and Eric. We were up in the attic of the Viele House, and we got Paul come through there. And then with Ernesto, it was Ernesto and I. We were running an event there one night, and Ernesto and I was just up there screwing around. You know what I mean? Just doing EVP sessions. We got Paul Hammer, both first and last name come through. Mind blowing. It's pretty amazing.
And not to mention the attic's like super creepy, right? Like you go up
the dollhouses up there, man.
Yeah, man. It's like straight out of a scary movie. It's just old, raw attic. There's doll houses. There's like an old mannequin.
Exactly.
And they're always moving it around because they use it for storage. Yeah. So it always scares the piss out of me. Like every time I go up there, because it's like in a different location, and the mannequin always startles me. It's funny.
We just got some crazy. The last event we were up there, I had some guests up there, man, and they ran out of the house from the evidence that we captured. They literally, the EVP, we said, get out now. They said,
and
they were gone.
Yeah,
They looked like Speedy Gonzalez running down the steps.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, to us, we do it so often, and we host these events that sometimes we take things a little bit for granted. When we get a good EVP, we're like, wow, that was a cool EVP. And people are over there just essing themselves, they're like, what in the world? So yeah, it's wild, and that attic as well. I've had people report being touched. I've felt stuff in there. Like we did the Delco experiment in there, and it was really crazy wild, like the way things were lining up. Any advice that you would give out to any of the viewers that wanted to visit the Old Davie Schoolhouse, like the Viele House or anything like that? Like that wanted to come out and join us for an event if they wanted to visit that location?
Yeah, I think it's important that you come into a location with respect to the history of the location. I think you have to understand that that place has been there way before we've ever stepped foot there. The spirits that could be residing there have been there longer than we've ever been around. So my advice to anybody looking to visit, come with the mindset of respect and dignity to the place. Be respectful of the history and be open-minded to what can happen or what may not happen. And that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to catch an EVP or we're going to catch evidence every time. So come with an open mind and respectful would be my piece of advice.
I couldn't say it any better myself. And then just like one last personal question. Sure. Have you checked out the new SB7 Pro? We just got one given to us from our sponsor. Eric has it now. Yeah. I haven't got to use it in the field, but I was playing with it. It's got some really cool options. Have you?
I have not. So I have checked it out online. It is on my wish list, which I have a birthday coming up. I'm speaking enough so
There you
loud enough my wife can hear me.
go.
But no, I haven't had the privilege to run it
So
yet.
just because I know you are the spirit box guy, right? Um, it has a switch on it where you can turn on and off the antenna,
Oh, okay.
which is really cool.
That's dope.
You can also set the kilohertz, so when it's sweeping, you can set the kilohertz, which is also really cool because you can kind of dial it in a little bit more to your liking, and it's got a lot of cool options. It's even got a REM feature where
Oh, wow, look at that.
when you get up to it, it'll start to sweep. So when something comes up to it, so if you left it in a room with a static camera,
Yeah.
and something touches it or something comes near it, it'll start to sweep.
Now that's what
So
I'm talking about. That's
so it's
really
got
cool.
they did good. They did really cool with it, and it's a little bit bigger. It's not like the same size as SB11, but it's like in the middle, and it's like you
Got
can
it.
hold it. It's like really nice.
Yeah.
Man, I'll let you use it next time we get together. We'll have to
Yeah.
let you borrow it.
I'm gonna hold you to that, man.
Yeah, man. But no, it was really good chatting with you, man. And
Always.
you know, and I appreciate you coming on, and I know Franny does as well.
Yeah.
Anything that you have coming up, or anywhere that people can follow you on social media and check out some of your findings and things like that?
Sure. So, I go by the Ghost Dad, the _Ghost Dad. I just have TikTok and I don't really do a lot on Instagram. I think that's where everybody's at. I'm a TikTok guy. So a lot of my stuff's there. It's funny with the advent of social media and TikTok and things like that. You have a lot of people out there that's faking evidence. So I may not stack up to a lot of those paranormal videos that are out there, but what I do put on my TikTok is real, true to rights evidence that I've captured with my team, with myself, with you guys. And on a personal note, Mike, I just want to say that I really respect what you've brought to this field. The Delco experiment is amazing, and
Hey,
I
I
think,
really appreciate it, man.
yeah,
It's something that I had no idea that people were going to take to it, and it was going to work as well as it has been. It was just kind of an idea that I threw together, and then kind of, I'm just one of those guys that, like, I can't leave something, like, it has to be like perfect, right? So I just kept altering it until I got it to the way that I like it, and it's yeah, it's been working well, and everybody, I'm getting a lot of cool feedback from people, so I really do appreciate that.
well, not only that, but your approach in particular on how you gather and capture your evidence. It's I respect that. You know what I mean? It's
and
not
and
a
and the same goes for you as well, and I think that most of our team members are the same, and
Yeah, that's exactly great point. I think, and that's why I love War Party so much because it's not about trying to it's more legitimate, making legit this what we're doing, right? Legitimizing the fact that we're out here doing what we do and
and try
really
to, yeah, and look at it a little bit deeper, and try to figure out, like, really what's happening, and not jumping to the conclusion that everything is paranormal either,
right.
and that's one of the things I think that being, Scotty and Zap are our co-founders and the founders of the team, that they've been doing residentials for so long, and
Yeah,
we do residentials, and I think that's what also keeps everybody, credibility is everything when you do that, because
100%.
you're going into people's homes, and you say the wrong thing, and some of these people are very scared,
Yeah,
regardless if it is paranormal or not. They're
exactly.
very scared, and that's a very vulnerable place to be. And if you say the wrong thing or do something that could really screw up somebody's psyche, and
There's real consequences on how you conduct yourself. So professionalism is everything, and that's one
ex-
thing I've really appreciated about this team. And you guys, you and Mike, Eric. I mean, you and Eric, and even Joe. I
Joe's
love,
great. Yeah.
I love investigating with Joe. His approach, everybody, Franny, they're all fantastic
Yeah, no, it's
professionals, real professionals.
I agree, and I feel the same way, and I love investigating with you as well. I mean, and 'cause, sometimes some of the questions and things that you ask, it's like it's awesome because you're really thinking about it and you're getting deep. It's not like always like, hey, who's here? How are you?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Now,
No, it's
we
always
build
like
a conversation, man. Let's build a conversation. Let's talk
exactly.
to them.
So again, it was really awesome chatting with
Yeah.
you again, and check them out on TikTok, the Ghost Dad. You can see some of the amazing EVPs he captures, things like that. With
Yep.
me, make sure if you want to check out any of my personal content or anything else that's going on with us, like the War Party Paranormal Radio Show or the Haunted Files on Paraflix, you can easily find it at warpartyparanormal.com. Or if you want to check out my website, it's FLA And we appreciate you guys, and it was good talking with everybody and talking with you, and we'll see you all soon.
Have a blessed day.